I want to talk to you about how to choose a domain name registrar. And before I get into the nitty-gritty, let me give you an overview because we first need to understand what is really a domain registrar. A lot of folks talk about it, but they have no idea. So a domain registrar is really authorized by ICANN or a national CCTLD authority to register domain name. So we're talking about CCTLD, so country TLD, right? So these registrars rent out domain names to individuals, businesses, or organizations, enabling them to create a distinct online identity. So this is when you think about a domain name, this is not just the register to a business or an organization. Also, an individual can actually have a domain name. Okay. Now, when registering a domain name, you typically do so for a year, so basically 12 months, and you have to do this through basically an organization. Now, you can renew it for up to 10 years. So every year you have to renew it up to 10 years. Now, the ownership of a domain name is not permanent. It's never permanent. Okay, you got to constantly sort of renew it. Otherwise, you lose it and somebody else gets it. And you're not actually owning the domain name, but you are renting it for the length of your registration term. And you must renew it once the term ends to continue using it. So besides providing the basic service of domain name registration, many domain registrars offer web hosting, email accounts, website building tools, and SSL certificates for website security. So we're talking about SSL. This is secure socket layer. I'll talk about that in another show, but I just want you to know that all those things go that they are kind of complementary. Okay. Now, some registrars actually provide extra features such as privacy protection that safeguard registration details such as your name, phone number, and address from being publicly accessible in the WHOIS database. And the thing is that as you actually consider which domain registrar to use, it's very important to look at the total package of services. So don't just look at the features, but also the services in general. We're talking here about not only the services, but also the pricing, customer support, and overall reputation. Some registrars may offer very low prices for initial registration, but then have high renewal rates or charge extra for services that others include for free. Therefore, it's really crucial to research and compare several domain registrars before making a decision. Boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Make yourself comfortable. You are going to enjoy today's conversation. Let's talk about the steps you need to follow. How do you actually choose the best domain name registrar? So when choosing a domain name registrar, it's really important to consider a variety of factors. Okay, don't just look at price or reputation, but look at a constellation of factors. For example, you not only want a registrar that offers the domain name extensions, for example, .com or .biz or .org or .edu you're looking for, but also offers competitively priced domain for your first year and every year thereafter, and includes money-saving extras. Okay, so not just the first year, all the years after. Okay, now here is what you need to consider when choosing a domain name. The first thing is affordability. That makes sense. I mean, you're not really you're not getting a domain name just to break the bank. So affordability. So most registrars offer discounted rates for the first year, making the initial purchase quite affordable. However, the renewal rates for subsequent years can sometimes be significantly higher. So this increase can catch you by surprise, especially if a registrar doesn't send a notification beforehand that you'll be charged. Therefore, it is essential to understand the full pricing structure, including both the introductory and renewal rates before making a decision. So don't let yourself they charging you like $9.99 the first year, and then the subsequent year they charge you like 47 euros. And the third year, they charge your credit card like 100 euros. So $100 rather. I mean, 100 euros, dollars, pounds, whatever. I mean, whatever you are located. Okay. And it's really important to really be clear about that. And so the first thing is affordability. Second thing, extension. So most domain registrars will offer top level domains, TLDs, for example, .com or .org. However, if you're interested in a unique, specific, let's say a unique or specific extension such as .blog or .store, or a country-specific one such as .us or .ca for Canada, you'll need to ensure the registrar you choose supports it. So not all registrars offer those more unique extensions, so it's really an important factor to check if you have a specific TLD in mind. So second thing Extension. First thing, affordability. Second thing, extensions. Number three, ease of use. So leading domain registrars usually provide comprehensive help centers, including robust documentation and tutorials on how to connect your domain to popular content management systems such as WordPress or email hosting providers. So the user interface and management dashboard of the registrar should also be intuitive and easy to navigate. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to choose a domain name registrar. So the first criterion, affordability. Second criterion, extensions. Third criterion, ease of use. Fourth criterion, support, customer support, that is, okay? Even with the best planning, you may encounter issues or have questions that require help. I mean, this is part of life. I mean, part of business, not a problem. So when evaluating a domain registrar, consider the hours during which support is available and the channel and then the channels it uses. So phone, email, live chat, etc. Let me give you an example. If your domain registrar basically is working Pacific time and you are in Europe or you are in Africa or you are in Asia, make sure that their support time actually is in sync with your business hours. Okay. Also consider looking at user reviews to evaluate the registrar's reputation for customer service. The best domain registrars provide timely, helpful support. Okay, so this is really important. So, and that support can be really invaluable when you are managing your online presence. Another criterion you want to look at is the registration, the period. Yeah. So the registration period. So think of registering a domain name as a bit like signing a lease on a new apartment. So the registration period is your lease term, often starting with a 1 year commitment, but you have options. So it's one of those things where you have options and you got to really exercise your options carefully. So you can choose to lock down your digital address for up to 10 years. So this longer commitment can be a smart move financially and practically, securing your spot on the web and often saving you a bit of money over time. Now just remember, as with any lease, it's up to you to renew it when the term ends if you want to keep your spot. Also think about domain transferability. So if you ever spot a better deal or want to switch for other reasons, you should be able to take your domain name with you. This is what we call domain transferability. But with something it's kind of similar to moving houses, it can come with a bit of legwork and sometimes extra cost. So before you actually sign up, get to know your registrar's policies and how long after your initial registration can you move. Is there a fee, right? So you want to know those things. And is it very difficult to switch or even impossible? Because I mean, you are just transferring business elsewhere. Some domain name registrars may not like it. You also have to pay attention to expiration policies. See, the whole thing is, and as I just told you, expiration policy is not just about the date or the term length. It's also about the conditions under which you can actually, under which your policy will expire. Okay, so every registrar has rules about what happens when your domain registration period ends. It's kind of like what happens when your apartment lease runs out. Some give you a grace period to renew with no extra charge, while others might actually slap on you a hefty late fee. And if you don't renew in time, your domain could end up back on the market or even on the auction block. So do yourself a favor and get familiar with your registrar's expiration policies. It could save you a ton of headaches and potentially your domain down the line. So it's one of those things where you basically have to actually have a reminder, maybe in your calendar, and you can have an app or whatever that really sends you a notification to say, okay, your domain will actually expire pretty soon. Take some action. Do not wait for the registrar to send you a notification. What if they don't? You are the one on the losing end, so you want to really make sure you cover your back. Also think about additional services. Okay, finally, many domain registrars offer more than just a domain name. They come with perks, so this might include things such as web hosting, email services, website builders. This is an important element. You have privacy protection and more. So it's like the gym and pool in your apartment complex, adding convenience and value to your lease. But remember, not all perks are created equal. The quality, cost, and usefulness of these services can vary from one registrar to another. So it's just always a better idea to shop around. You don't want to actually tie yourself down to something that is not really amenable to you, okay? And if the extra services don't fit your needs or your budget for that matter, you can always get them from another source, okay? Flexibility is key here. Boss, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. We are having a conversation about how to choose a domain name registrar. Let me talk to you about the approach here as you're trying to really choose a domain name registrar. I mean, let's first talk about how much a domain name costs, because the whole thing is that, again, as I said before, the first year is kind of cheap, but then they kind of slap on you a hefty price on the second year and third year and so on and so forth. So the cost of a domain name can vary based on a variety of factors and the extension you choose, so .com, .net, .org, etc. The popularity of the name and the registrar you select all play an important role in determining the price, though what we have seen in our research here is that you have like you can think about $10 to $50 per year, so 10 to 50. That's sort of the bottom line here. However, domains can be significantly more expensive, in the thousands, for notable sounding domains. So the pricing structure is often set up as an annual fee, although some registrars offer discounted rates if you register for multiple years upfront. This is the lease on your little piece of the internet, and it needs to be renewed when it expires, similar to a rental agreement, okay? And so the thing is that there are some important factors that impact pricing. You have the domain extension, the domain popularity, the premium domains, and the registrar pricing. Let me talk to you quickly about that. So some extensions are more popular and therefore more expensive. For example, .com domains are often pricier than let's say .net or .org. There are also specialty extensions such as .tech or .design, which can command higher prices. We got to think about domain popularity. If a domain name is in high demand, it could be more expensive. This is especially true for short, simple, and easy to remember names. What about premium domains? Well, some domains are actually considered premium and come with a higher price tag. These are often words or popular phrases that are highly desirable. And also, you got to think about the registrar pricing. So each registrar sets its own prices for domain registration. So it's always a great idea to shop around. So some I offer a lower price but make up for it with the higher renewal fees or additional charges for services such as domain transfers. So this is how they make their money. And you also got to think about hidden fees, because the whole thing is, what if a price is too low and you're all happy, gung ho, whatever. You got to go back and really read the whole contract, read those fine prints, and also the hidden fees. So while the upfront cost of a domain name might seem straightforward, there can be hidden fees to watch out for. Some registrars charge extra for services that others include for free, such as privacy protection, which keeps your personal information out of the public OE's database, and other potential fees to watch out for include transfer fees, late renewal fees, and charges for additional services such as email hosting or SSL certificates. Let me give you a bonus here. If you're still with me, I want to talk to you about, the whole thing is, when we talk about the OE's database, there has to be an important element to add here. OE's privacy is important. Why? Now, without going too in depth to what ICANN and OE's are, suffice it to say that it's the nonprofit corporation that is responsible for keeping the internet secure and the naming structure of websites as it is. It requires anyone who registers a domain to provide accurate identifiable contact information, including name, address, email, and phone number. Not everyone is comfortable with that information being public. So domain registrars have found a way to keep your info safe and still provide ICANN the info they need. So this domain privacy features replace your information with the registrar's info, as at least publicly. So anyone can look up who registered a domain name. So having domain privacy can reduce spam for you and keep you safe. I mean, safety is really necessary here. So how do you actually choose a domain name? Well, picking your domain name is like naming your first kid, right? It's one of those things where, you have a little bit of branding in it, a little bit of pride, a little bit of ambition, a little bit of vision. It's a constellation of several factors. And so when you name your first kid, it's a huge decision and it will be around for a while. You need to ensure that the name you choose for your online presence is easy to find, memorable, and leaves the right impression. So the domain name best practices it's all important to really understand what helps your domain name. Explore different extensions. Modify your name. Consider hyphens, for instance. Okay, and sometimes it's always better just to spice things up a little bit. If the like in terms of different extensions, if the .com version of your desired name is taken, why not consider other extensions? You've got .info, .store, .shop, and hundreds more to choose from. Just remember that some extensions may resonate better with your target audience than others. Modify your name. If you are set on a .com domain, play around with your business name. Add an article like the A or N. Okay, so it's all important to try things out. Consider hyphens. So a well-placed hyphen could make all the difference. For example, you can say ghostlycastle.com, or the ghostlycastle.com can be a great alternative, but be careful with this approach. Okay, hyphens can sometimes confuse users and make your domain harder to share verbally. So it's one of those things where you got to think about, and also think about .com versus other domains, other domain extension. Sure, .com is king when it comes to king or queen when it comes to domain extensions, but it's not the only player in the game. There's .net, .org, .edu, .gov, and a slew of others. Okay, and while .com is memorable, less popular extensions can be less expensive, though there are exceptions, such as the increasingly trendy .io and .co. Let me talk to you about some common domain name mistakes, okay? And it's one of those things where when you're thinking about domain name, you had to really pay attention to a few things. So when it comes to domain names, a few common mistakes can have lasting effects. Remember, having a domain name is like you basically are signing a lease contract, right? So if you have a too long or complicated, so keep your domain name as short and simple as possible. If it's too long or hard to spell, people will struggle to remember it or might mistype it. Forgetting about branding. I mean, your domain name should reflect your brand. So you want to avoid generic names and aim for something unique and memorable. And to make it simpler for local customers to find you, consider including your city or state in your domain name if your business is local. I mean, that strategy is kind of cool, but it has to be, your business has to be really local for it to work. And also not checking trademarks. So before you register a domain name, make sure it is not trademarked, because the last thing you want is a legal problem down the road, such as a certified letter from a friendly lawyer at a multi-billion-dollar corporation about that domain name you just purchased. Think about it. You do not want to have something like that, because at the end of the day, they are going to win. If they have proof that they have already trademarked the domain name before you, you are really toast. Okay. So the thing is that to identify the best domain name, the best domain name registrars, basically pay attention to pricing, for instance. Pay attention to service and support. Pay attention to the general features. Pay attention also to the additional features. General features, you're talking about domain extensions, domain privacy, WHOIS protection, email hosting, web hosting, and the ability to purchase domain extensions for other countries. When we talk about additional features, we're speaking about the domain lock features, automatic renewals, monetization tools, provision of a website builder, multi-factor authentication, renewal grace period, the number of domains under the company's management, and whether the registrar provides alternative domain name suggestions. Thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate today's conversation. Now, let me just do a quick recap here. I spoke to you about how to choose a domain name registrar. So I gave you the overview, the steps, the approach, and finally, the bonus. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll speak to you at another time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.